Hello everyone, and thanks for joining me on this webinar today. My name's Steve Perry, and as promised in the title, I've got some great content for you which will provide the information you need in order to maximise conversions and profit through your Adwords account. So let's jump straight in and get into the content. So first of all, who am I and why should you listen to me? And I'll hopefully try and summarise that in a few bullet points. As it says here, I've been running pay-per-click accounts for approximately 10 years. My company now is a Google partner. My background is in large digital agencies, so I used to be the main pay-per-click manager of some globally recognised brands, and they had an awful lot of budget to spend. And when you're in at that sort of level of an agency dealing with these sorts of corporates, you have to get results, and your sort of experience and expertise needs to come into its own. And I've always had a sort of entrepreneurial spirit, and I was self-employed before I went into the agency, and I quickly realised that I still wanted to be my own boss, and I could see an area of opportunity where small and medium-sized businesses were very underserved. They weren't getting access to this sort of level of expertise that these bigger players had access to. And what you tend to find with an Adwords account is that the principles are the same. So whether you're spending £200,000 a month or £250 a month, the fundamentals of an Adwords account still need to be followed. And many small and medium-sized businesses are doing it wrong, and they're getting their fingers burnt on Adwords, and they're losing a lot of money. So rather than try and roll out a agency that provides a bit of everything, we concentrate on pay-per-click. Google AdWords and Facebook pay-per-click is all we do as a business. So that's our sort of area of expertise and specialism, and we know that, and that's how we're sort of growing our business and our reputation, because we are providing this sort of key skill to SMEs. So that's a bit about us, and if you'd like to find out more, then you can do through Pixel with an A, ltd.co.uk. and it'd be great if you want to get in touch with us. But let's dig into the content. So the main thing I love about Google AdWords is its measurability. So every single penny that we spend on AdWords can be tracked and measured. So we will quickly be able to find that a particular set of keywords in your account, which could have hundreds of keywords in, has convert at a much higher rate than any other keyword in your account. And once you know that sort of information, and 80% of your keywords, for instance, are spending budget and are converting at quite a low conversion rate, you are quickly able to change where you put your budget, and you spend it in the areas that are working best, and you make the changes necessary to allow those keywords to perform even better. So if we couldn't measure it, we couldn't do that, and we wouldn't be able to really fine-tune a AdWords account as a result. So I'll be covering that more in the coming slides. So AdWords is so important, and it's such a big player because telling you something you already know, I'm sure you're able to get in front of people specifically searching for the product or service that you provide. So they're extremely qualified and warm sort of targeted leads that are finding their way to your website. And if you do a very good job at telling them, you know, what it is that they want to hear, then you have a very good chance of converting them into a paying customer. Obviously you need to be able to follow through on what you tell them, but I'm assuming that we've all got good, trustworthy businesses, and that really it's a case of getting in front of the competition. So results are pretty instant. If you want to be at the top of Google for your main keywords, then you can do. And going back to what I just said about measurability, AdWords can also help with SEO decisions, as an example. So as I said, you may find that out of 200 odd keywords in your AdWords account, there are a handful that are just brilliant converters, and you can use AdWords to quickly find those keywords and ask your SEO team to SEO for those, because a lot of businesses approach SEO by just saying, oh, I want to be found for these keywords, and sometimes they don't have the necessary sort of data as to whether they are actually good sort of buyer keywords. So it's another good way of using AdWords as well, if you take a sort of multi-pillar approach in your online marketing. So the blue boxes on this screen grab are showing you where the paid ads are. So you've got the top 3 ads, and then you've got your ads down the right hand side, and your organic listings in the red box in the middle. And the reason for showing you this and starting off with the basics is because it is important to recognize that it's so easy for you to leapfrog people that are potentially just the highest in the organic listings, and you can come along and just bid for that click. And if you've got a good website and it converts, then you can get in front of your competition very quickly and easily, and you stand a very good chance of converting those people into a customer because they're searching for you. So it's a way of, if you do AdWords correctly, it should be a way of having almost like your own little cash machine. You turn it on. If it's optimized well, then you should be able to let it spend its daily budget and expect a certain return for that budget spent. And this kind of just goes to show, you've got people down the right hand side here. A lot of people just don't even think that people click on the right hand side, but they do, and you can get all the clicks that you want as long as you're in an industry that gets the search volume. So why most businesses are doing it all wrong, wasting money needlessly. So this is an important point to cover, because Google make it sound very easy to set up an AdWords account. They say, bid on your keywords that are relevant to your business and start getting traffic, and that all makes sense. And it's if you took that approach, what you'll tend to find is that you throw a lot of keywords into your account on a broad match, and you put everything into one campaign, and you have your one ad, and whilst you'll get traffic, you'll get a lot of wasted traffic. You'll waste a lot of money on variations of those keywords that you've selected, and it will be a case that your ad isn't going to be relevant or highly relevant to every keyword in there either. So that means that your click-through rate is going to be lower, which is a key part of how Google decide where to place your ad. So we're going to be covering these the correct structure as we go on, but that's one of the key reasons. It's not really knowing what keyword to bid on, and it's not really putting things in the right structure. So if they were to follow best practices, then a business owner would approach their account hoping to achieve all of these things: a high click-through rate. So as I said, with regards to the ad, if your ad is very relevant to the search that's been performed, then the likelihood is that the person making that search will be very compelled to click your ad, because it ticks all of the boxes about that particular set of keywords they've just put in, and they will click through at a higher rate than if it was less specific. A high quality score would mean that you've got keywords in there that are very relevant to the ad and the landing page that people are going to end up on. So if you're talking about a certain subject in a keyword string, then you really want to be sending those people through to a page which talks at length, or enough length, about that particular keyword, so Google can see that it's being spoken about on your page and that it's relevant. You want to have lots of negative keywords in your account, especially if you're using the broader match keywords. And if you're using broad match, which is just where you put in the keyword straight in without any sort of pluses or quotation marks around them, then Google will show you for lots of variations of that keyword, and often they could be so non-relevant it's untrue. And if you want to be appearing to the right traffic, then you need to add negative keywords so that you don't get found for these sorts of searches. So if you sell green tennis balls, then if there is a lot of search volume around blue tennis balls, you can tell I'm thinking off the top of my head here, then you want to put blue, the word blue, as a negative, because you don't sell blue tennis balls. What's the point in getting a click and spending money on someone who wants blue tennis balls and you don't provide them? So really should have had a better example than that, but hopefully that gives you a bit of an idea as to how you can use negatives to weed out people clicking through and spending your budget who have a very, very low chance of converting. You want to have site extensions in place, ad extensions, and we will touch on that in more detail. And that they are very important now as well. There's been an update to Google's ad rank formula, the first in years, and they play a major part. And you want to have granularity of your groupings. So that means having well themed campaigns and lots of ad groups within your campaigns, and all of that good stuff. So let me go into more detail. But let's start with, when you're setting up your account, you want to do as much keyword research as possible. So you might already have an Adwords account and you might already have lots of keywords in there, which is fine. But what you might want to do is do an export of your account and just really go through all of the keywords that you do have in there and work out whether they are the best spend of your budget or not. Maybe there are some in there that are the main traffic drivers and perform well for you, and if they do, then take those keywords and put them into the keyword tool again and see if you can expand on those. If you don't have an Adwords account at the moment and you need to find keywords to put in, then the best place for you to go is the keyword planner within Google AdWords. You can Google it and you'll soon find the tool. And what it will allow you to do is put the keywords that you've been thinking of into a box. You press search, and Google comes back with all of the suggestions around the terms that you put in and the search volume of monthly UK searches that take place on those particular keywords. So you'll soon be able to go through each of these keywords, selecting which ones that you do and don't want, and you just put a tick next to each one. There's filters as well, so if you wanted to just see the search volume for a particular part of the country, then you can do that. You can also exclude keywords. So on this example, you can see here we've added tennis court construction as a keyword idea, and Google have given us some suggestions below with the keyword search volume there as well. But the client here doesn't do indoor tennis courts, so we can use the filter on the left and exclude the word indoor and save ourselves some time when we're picking through these keywords, so we don't see a lot of irrelevant ones. So we tend to use that as the main tool for getting our initial ideas. We also use a paid tool called Longtail Pro, which provides sort of lower search volume keywords, but they can often be the best keywords as long as you're happy to put the time into doing this right. A lot of long tail keywords are better than a handful of generic ones a lot of the time, and you can spend less on cost per click, and it can be ultra targeted. So that's another tip for you. So how do you structure your account? Well, on the right hand side you can see that we have 4 campaigns there. So up here we have the construction campaign, underneath the maintenance campaign, and then planning and resurfacing. So this again is our tennis court construction client, and within the construction campaign we've got different ad groups. So it means that we are segmenting these keywords. So we're following a theme within the campaign, and within the campaign itself it has sort of smaller themes broken down. So under construction, these are all construction relevant ad groups, but if someone typed in tennis court costs as an example, it will fire the tennis court costs ad because it's in its own ad group. So this particular ad group has its own ad, which is talking all about tennis court costs. You can see that if we were to, if someone was to type tennis court maintenance as an example, this ad down the bottom middle, you can see that we've got tennis court maintenance used in the ad title. We're using maintenance in the display URL of the ad, and we're using tennis court maintenance keywords in the description as well. So if you just type tennis court maintenance into Google and this ad appeared screaming tennis court maintenance, it's going to be very compelling to click, and it's that is going to drive up your click-through rate as well as the position that you're in on the page. So all of these ad groups are split out in such a way allowing us to have individual keyword specific ads that relate very clearly to the keywords that have been searched. I hope that makes sense. So with the display URL that we're using in the ad, I've blocked out the client's name, but you've got the fact that it ends in a .co.uk, and after the / you can have any keyword you want. So if someone's typing in tennis court orientation, then you can put / orientation, and it doesn't matter that might not necessarily be the destination URL, but for display purposes in the ad you can use that keyword again, and it's very underused, so it's a good thing to be doing. when we're putting together an account, we really can spend days researching the keywords, working out the best structure to put that account into, so the themes of the campaigns, and then breaking down the keywords within that campaign into their own different little areas, which then turn into the ad groups, and from those ad groups we create the ad copy for each one, which screams whatever that keyword or set of keywords are about. So when you're putting your campaigns together, you always want to be targeting one network at a time. So you on Google, for instance, you've got the search network and you've also got the display network, and both work they work very differently. So the search network is allowing you to appear on Google when someone types in a keyword, and the display network allows you to have your text ads or even graphical banner ads displayed on other websites as people browse the internet. The thing with having your ad on other websites as people browse the internet means that people aren't at that time searching for what you provide, so the amount of times that you're shown to the amount of times you're clicked is very low. So if you were to have both display and search in the same campaign, the display network would reduce your click-through rate because you're showing a lot of times and not getting a lot of clicks. So it dilutes all of the good click-through rates that you're getting through search. So always have your networks in different campaigns. You want to ensure that you're only appearing to the audience that you can serve. So our client here, for instance, would want to target a 20-mile radius of somewhere in the south of England, and that's as far as he can go. He can't drive up to Birmingham to carry out tennis court maintenance. So he wants to make sure that he is spending his budget only on people that he can provide his service to. So he's not wasting any budget on clicks from people he can't serve. Another setting within the campaign settings is the ad delivery setting. What you want to do is set this to rotate indefinitely. This will allow you to test your text ads against one another. So if you have a ad group that's getting a lot of search traffic and it's doing quite well, you might want to test this, and it's recommended that you would test another variation of that text ad. So if it's talking all about tennis court construction, then you might want to create a variation that maybe mentions the different colours of the courts, that they could have different surface colours, because that might be quite exciting to someone if they're thinking about getting a tennis court created and they suddenly realise, oh, I could have a red surface or I could have a blue surface. Then that could be quite good, but you won't know until you test it. And if you do test it, quite often we will double our click-through rates based on just changing a text ad. So the only way you can accurately split test is to rotate indefinitely, and that means that it will split the traffic that sees these separate two ads. It will split that traffic evenly, and it will allow you to see which has performed best. So to avoid wasted spend, you also want to be performing search query reports, and that involves going to the keyword area of your account and running a report from there, and that will actually tell you the keywords that have been searched, and that's quite an important thing to know. If you're using broad match keywords, it's only really through running search query reports that you would find the actual search terms that people are finding you for. So going back to my very odd example of blue tennis balls, you would be able to find in here that is what people have searched for, and therefore you can put the word blue as a negative. So if broad match keywords kick up a lot of irrelevant searches, then ideally what you will want to do is move away from broad match. So there is a match type called modified broad match, and that is where you put these little plus signs before the keywords that have to be in the search term. So this allows you to say, look Google, I'm open to some variations, but it has to have this keyword and this keyword in it. If it has these two keywords, then yes, add others around it if you see fit, that is okay. And you also want to make sure that you're looking out for these underperforming keywords as well through analytics. So even if you feel that the search term is relevant but they're not performing, if you can get more clicks through the ones that are performing in terms of conversions, then you may decide to pause the ones that aren't, or lower the cost per click in order to get more clicks and see how that affects the amount of conversions you get for the amount of money that you're spending. One good way of putting negative keywords into your account is doing so in the shared library. You'll see a link to this in the sort of bottom left hand side of the navigation in Adwords, and through there you'll be able to add a list of negatives, and you can assign it to the campaigns that you want those negatives to be in. So it's kind of easier than going into each campaign individually and pasting in a load of keywords. Okay, so the ad rank formula, so how Google determines where they are going to show your ad, used to be reasonably simple. It used to be your cost per click times your quality score. So that was the way it was for quite a while. So if you're bidding £2 a click and you've got a very high quality score, then you can appear above someone paying more per click than you who has a lower quality score. This example here is quite a good one of how it was working previously, but now they've added the ad extensions as a part that they take notice of for the ad rank formula. So ad extensions should be used. Ad extensions are site links, location extensions, call extensions, and call out extensions. So I'm going to show you how to add those now as well. So these are located in the campaigns themselves. So you click on your one of your campaigns, and you've got all of the tabs across the top, and you will see one there called Ad Extensions. If you click on that, you will then see a drop down of the ad extensions available to you. So this one here on the right hand side is a example of site links, and what site links do, they basically allow you to have some extra sort of keywords, and if used right, they could be calls to action as well. So you might want to have, sort of opening times or special offers or January sale or something like that, and as long as the link is going through to a different page on your website, then you can use it. So not only is it good for taking people straight to the area that they want to go to, or identifying a sale that they wouldn't necessarily be aware of otherwise, it also makes your ad bigger. so it pushes down the ads below it and your competition. So it's great for getting those additional selling points in. You can use location extensions, reviews, call extensions where you put your telephone number in, and call out extensions are reasonably new now as well, and they will allow you to put some bullet points underneath your ad of, you know, sort of maybe your unique selling point, or, you know, something that you provide that your competition doesn't. So all of these ad extensions really need to be used because Google wants you to use them, and you will benefit through higher positions typically if you've got everything else right as well. So you'll get higher click-through rates, you get rewarded by Google for using all of these things, and it's all of these details can help you achieve better positions without having to keep spending more on cost per click. So the main way we measure our results through AdWords is through the use of Google Analytics, and because they're both Google owned, it means that the data comes through very nicely indeed. So once you've linked your AdWords accounts with your analytics account, you can go into analytics, you can see all of your campaigns in there, you can see what the clicks have been and what the average session duration has been for a particular campaign, and what your goal completions have been as well. So in this example here, this is a new client, so we're still getting going really, but we can see that we're getting a lot of our goal completions through the tennis court maintenance keyword within the maintenance campaign. Now over time we will start changing the match types of these keywords and really zone it in, but what we're using here is modified broad, and it's allowing us enough scope to discover what keywords first have the potential, and then we just start that, you know, optimization again and again and again, and it's the way that we are able to take an account from, you know, getting 10 conversions a month to all of a sudden getting 50, because we're concentrating our efforts in the right areas. So to be able to link your analytics with AdWords, go into analytics, create an account if you haven't already got one, go to admin, which is located at the top, and then you'll see an option which is AdWords linking, and you'll be able to find it through there. So I highly recommend you do that because you need this data in order to improve your account. Okay, so optimizing your account and what to look out for. So if we can see what campaigns are getting the conversions, what keywords are getting those conversions, we could start looking at other areas of well, maybe where the budget could still be spent in a better way. So this example down here is we can see that goal completions are highest between sort of 12 and 1 o'clock, I think this is, or 2 o'clock, but they're lowest, I think this is about 3 to 5 o'clock. It's difficult with that box in the way, but if we can identify where the conversions drop off in a day, then we can automatically ask Google to stop serving our ads between certain hours of the day. And if we can do that, then we can take that money that it would have spent in those hours of the day and spend them in between the hours of, spend more budget between the hours of 12 and 2:30 when the conversions do happen. So you can see all of these little areas that become apparent once you analyse the data properly in analytics. So look out for time of the day, also day of week as well. You may find that Saturday and Sunday convert at half the rate of weekday, or vice versa. So can you spend all your budget in areas or times of days or days of weeks that convert at the highest rate? So what you want to be doing is testing everything. So testing ad copy, testing different keyword match types, testing different days of the week, hours of the day, and very importantly, and something that we've not really spoken about yet, is the landing pages, because they're critical to getting the conversions. So whatever your call to action is, whatever you want that conversion to be, whilst you can drive quality traffic to that page, and we can make them, we can do everything in our power to get your click-through rate up and get those people clicking. It's all a big waste of time if your website doesn't do a good job actually getting them to do what you want them to do in terms of getting in contact. So you want to be testing different landing pages as well. So if someone is searching for something specific, why not create a landing page exactly about that subject? And going back to my insanely weird green and blue tennis balls example, if we were to if we did stock blue tennis balls, then let's send them through to a blue tennis balls page, so at least then they are going to see exactly what they want to see from the search that they've made. And all of this is possible because your account is going to be structured in the way that will allow you to have each of those different ad groups having different sort of specific ads. Each of those ads can go to its own page. So all of the ad groups under one campaign can all go to different pages, and that opens up a lot of opportunities for you to test landing pages. You also can test lots of different remarketing banners, which I'm going to talk about in a second, and that will allow you to also get an idea as to what sort of style or messaging works for you there as well. And let's get on to remarketing. So if you're not already aware of remarketing, if someone comes to your website, you can have a little bit of code on your page which identifies that that person has come along and they visited your site. They leave your website, but doesn't necessarily mean that they're not interested, but your product or service might not be something that they would take action on immediately. If you're in financial services, for instance, then it's unlikely someone's going to pick up the phone immediately and start talking about a mortgage. They might want to first identify a local mortgage broker, chat to their partner, and do all of that sort of stuff before they actually make contact. Now, you've paid for their click, so if they leave your website with the intention of coming back, then you're going to have to pay for their click again, potentially, or you lose that potential customer to your competition, who scoop them up on a different search term. But if you have a remarketing ad that displays to those people as they browse the internet, they could be looking at the news, or they could be on eBay, they could see a banner ad which is branded in the same style as your website, and it has the messaging that would be consistent with what they've already seen, and it would compel them to come back to you. So these banner ads can follow people around for quite a long period of time. We tend to leave ours open for 30 days as to not annoy people too much, but if your sales process is longer than that, then you can certainly leave it open longer than that. And remarketing works through the Google Display Network, and that means that your clicks are cheaper typically as well. So you get a lot of exposure of people seeing the banner, but you won't be paying for any clicks until someone does click on that banner. So it's one of the highest converting but lowest cost things that you can do. Once you've got remarketing out there, it ticks along, and every person that comes to your website would, unless they've opted out, you can serve them remarketing ads. And the great thing is that your remarketing ads will show to people from any source of traffic that they came in on. So they don't necessarily have to come in on a Adwords ad. They can come in organically, and they could come in direct. They could come in off a Facebook ad, and your remarketing banners can still show to them. So it's important and a good point to raise, because it doesn't matter. You could just have a remarketing campaign running to the traffic you're getting from other traffic sources. Okay, so with remarketing, unless your website has a large volume of traffic, you're best to go with generic types of banners. But if you did have quite a lot of traffic going to your website, and particular pages in general, so let's say our client, the tennis court construction guy, he may want to have remarketing banners specifically about tennis court construction, following the people around that went to the tennis court construction page. He may want to have remarketing banners just about tennis court resurfacing, just to the people that went to the tennis court resurfacing page. And you can see where this is going. So this is one of our ads that we ran as a generic one, straight off, with people that are hitting our homepage, not particularly going to an AdWords page or a Facebook page, and we were able to just remarket to those people, because we didn't know at that point what particular service they were most interested in. So keep our options open, let's keep it consistent with our branding and our colours, and let's follow them around and remind them that we're there and stay top of mind. So when they are ready to get some one-off or monthly done for you PPC work, then we're there, and that we're going to be remembered. And also it's a good way of showcasing what we can do. So if we can use remarketing via the Google Display Network, we are now able to use remarketing via Facebook as well, but that's something for another webinar. But you can remarket to people that have come to your website through their Facebook newsfeed, which is really good. And just one point to touch on here: if you're in a sector where cost per click is expensive, at the moment Facebook clicks are very cheap. So something to consider would be, if you can target your audience correctly on Facebook for your business, then you could use Facebook to get the clicks, as long as they're good quality, and then remarket via AdWords and Facebook. So something to think about there. But all this is sort of strategy stuff, but to give you an example of what's possible. And